hell of a thing. Hasan Piker, detained and questioned by border agents at the airport. He talked about it. Here it is.
They take me to this back room and we got to talking. And let me tell you folks, the TikTokers that talked about being detained, they were right. It was an insane situation. So it's very obvious that they knew exactly who the fuck I was. It's very obvious that they knew how to like navigate the conversation. You know, he's like, oh, what are you doing in Chicago? And I was very revealing. I was like, I want to take my family out for Mother's Day to France, but I had to come back early from France because I have a speaking engagement at University of Chicago. And he was like, oh, what kind of speaking engagement? It's like, I don't know, some like journalism school stuff. And he's like, oh, well, since you mentioned that, what do you do as a job? And I was like, I'm a Twitch streamer. And he's like, well, since you mentioned that, what kind of things do you stream about? So I was just like, I play video games, but I also do current events sometimes. And he's like, since you mentioned that, do you talk about the news? And I was like, yeah, I talk about the news. So when you talk about the news, do you talk about the war? And I was like, what do you mean by that? He's like, do you talk about Trump?
What? These questions are not probative because you're not getting to a point of criminal behavior. You're not just being nosy because you don't care about the lives of other people who are strangers like that. So what are you actually doing? What is your point? What are you trying to accomplish? You're not setting the groundwork for some criminal charge. What are you doing? There's more.
And that was the first time where I was like, what the f is this question? Like, I literally straight up told him, I was like, why are you asking me this? Like, what does this have to do with anything? None of these questions are actually valid questions to ask. But I was entertaining it because, one, I didn't want to present it as being difficult because I didn't want to extend the detention. And two, I actually wanted to see how far I could take it. And I'm glad I did this because the reality of the matter is I'm profoundly privileged. I'm a public person. I have enough money to be able to fight back against this sort of thing. And they know who the f I am. So obviously the reason for why they're doing that is, I think, to try to create an environment of fear, to try to get people like myself, or at least like others that would be in my shoes that don't have that same level of security, to shut the f up. Why is this denying me entry into the country of my birth? You can't just stop me at the border and be like, what's your opinion on Donald Trump? You're not allowed to enter the nation.
I have a lot of background, but political streamer and TYT alum. Mr. Piker had that experience on Monday, and revealed what went down. He was detained and interrogated by border agents the day before. On Sunday afternoon, he posted a photo of himself on X, Twitter, with the caption, quote, "It happened." Minutes later, he said in a follow-up tweet that he was detained by Customs and Border Protection agents at an airport. He was then subjected to additional questions before being released. He was born here, like me, like many of you. Border agents. The title itself is indicative that you and I won't have any interaction. Okay? I was born inside of this border. The issue is that this was never about borders. So all of the Candace Owens of the world and others who tried to sell to you on the hype that this was only about immigration enforcement, this was only about crime happening by way of undocumented individuals. No, this was about seizing control over you. But see, you didn't want to say anything when they knocked on your neighbor's door because you assumed your neighbor was Mexican. You see how that works? Piker, widely regarded as one of the biggest names in left-wing independent media, has long been critical of President Trump and the ongoing war in Gaza. He once called the US the, quote, top terrorist in a sit-down interview with CNN. He's not the only political content creator that had this experience. Here it is.
I am born and raised in the United States. I came back from Spain around 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now. And I was detained when I came in for about 2.5 hours. Mind you, I have global entry. This should have not happened to begin with. Scanned my eyes, the check mark went green. I thought I could continue walking. No, they had me pulled to the side, put in like this little box area. Another officer came and grabbed me. I was taken to around 5 different officers. Every single one of them told me they could not tell me the reason as to why I was being detained. I was treated like a literal animal. My father is an immigrant, but he is a United States citizen. He's been in America for the last 25 years, if not longer. Yet they asked me about his citizenship status when he immigrated here and all his details that I would not know. Then asked to vet my social media for all my social media accounts, including Snapchat, TikTok, and Instagram, as well as Facebook, and to show them proof of my income. They were asking some of the most intrusive questions, and when I tell you, they were transferring me from room to room, officer to officer. And the absolute last thing that was said to me is if I have any trips planned, why, when, where, and for how long would I go? When I told the officer no, he then screamed in my face a good 4 times, repeating the same exact question.
Put up a picture full mask. We have some more information on her social media. It's revealed that she has a clothing brand name, Trump for the Dump. I'm going to purchase one today. She donates the proceeds to organizations supporting LGBTQ plus rights, HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, immigrants, and Ukraine. Keep her picture up. The reason why she's doing this is because she has freedom to do so. That's why. She has freedom to do so. Now, here's what it seems like may be happening. And for any journalist, content creator, activist, I believe this has happened to other people. I can't tell you what to do. I don't know your personal situation, but consider saying something if it has. Why are you being stopped? I believe that there's a list. I believe that. Why do I believe there's a list? Because I don't think they just know who you are because they follow you. I remember in the first Trump administration, there was a rumor of a list of media targets being created then. Just some speculation. Wosny thoughts?
Man, it's so crazy because I have and I know people who have experienced, especially at JFK, where you come in and a lot of times they do they take you back to the side, do the extra search, or they might even take you to that back room and do a bunch of questioning and basically treat you like you've already committed a crime. And usually it's for drugs, it's drug trafficking. Like they're like, all right, people, this is like one of the most active freaking ports in the world. We're gonna do stops on people who we think is suspicious or random, whatever they call it. It's for drugs. It's never been essentially, I guess, ideology, just straight up. This is straight up re-education. This is straight up, communist authoritarian regime. Chairman Mao would be proud of these tactics if we're being honest here. And, and I know it's like cliche at this point, but just try to imagine and say, during the second Obama administration, say 2014, Glenn Beck was coming back from somewhere and he got detained. Right. And people started asking him about the stuff he talks on his political program, or Rush Limbaugh, or any of these people, who were in the right-wing media sphere, that Obama was having these guys detained at the airport. Could you even imagine this? I get it. It's cliche to imagine the opposite, but could you even imagine the outrage? It would be insane. We're talking about these people were calling the healthcare stuff death panels. Okay, could you imagine if Barry actually undertook authoritarian, ideological driven type of measures at the US border to American citizens, born and raised, red-blooded Americans? Are you kidding me? This is the height of just insanity with this administration at this point.
Yeah, it is. And the reason why it's difficult, if not impossible, for us to think in those terms, and I'm sure it never crossed the mind of people like President Obama to even do it, okay? Is because we actually believe in something greater. We actually believe in the diversity of America is a redeemer, not a disqualifier. We believe in people having equitable rights and fair access. We believe in these things authentically. What they believe in is the DNA of the beginning of this nation, which was rooted in one thing: white male domination. They believe in a historical context that has been proven and judged to be evil. We believe that we can nurture beyond the nature of the United States. That's the reason why we would never think to do something like that, because of free speech in America. All right, we'll bring you updates if there are more updates like this to bring.